Thank you so much. I just need to switch the presentation. 1 second. We practiced that, so it should be smooth. Let's see. There we go. Great. So thank you again for introducing me, and good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for joining, for some connection, some coffee, and hopefully some inspiration. Today the theme is revival, as Melanie said, and I want to look at you why it is important to revive the way we work and how we can start. My name, if the clicker works. My name is Rebecca, and over the last 13 years I've been working as a strategist, designer, and systemic coach with global companies, with governments and startups. And I collaborated with leaders and organizations to design innovation strategies, organizations for more resilience, and also building new capabilities. And when we look at the current state of work, we're really at a tipping point of accelerated change. AI is fundamentally changing how we work and lead. They're taking over tasks, accelerating automation, and also redefining roles. And this has a huge impact on how we work. And yet, most leaders and organizations only think about processes and structures instead of really understanding how humans can thrive at work. But to be honest, it's not only driving this change, impact only tomorrow, but it's already the system we are having already cracking. So just Gallup published a recent study, and I was shocked to read this number. 90% of employees do not feel engaged with their work. So a lot of people are actually looking for more meaning, more purpose. Furthermore, only 1 in 5 really trust the leadership. That means that lack of trust really hinders collaboration and innovation. And on top of that, over 60% of employees experiencing burnout on some level. So in short, our human resources are stretched thin in today's work environment. And organizations are often overwhelmed to deal with this emotional complexity and this result. And these cracks can no longer be ignored. Looking at the World Economic Forum, they predicted the skills needed for 2030, and most of them are psychologically. Skills like creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, agility, curiosity, motivation, self-awareness, leadership, and social influence. These are among the top 10 needed in 2030. So we really need to think about how we can nurture them. Reviving our human capacities isn't optional anymore. It needs to be integrated in the organization's DNA. You really need to integrate it into business processes and models. But to be honest, this revival doesn't rest with systems and organization alone. It actually starts with us, with leaders, with entrepreneurs, with team members, who actively look for small shifts they can integrate into their daily life. So we need to seek for shifts that can nurture new behavior and reconnect us with our human compass. And today we're going to look at 3 of them. So these shifts and the examples I give you are intentionally small because it is important that they are small, that you can start and actually practice. Only when they're small, they actually have a chance to stick. So let's dive into them. We have 3 shifts. First, from certainty to curiosity. Second, from control to adaptability. And third, from overwhelm to creative space. For each of them, I brought some ideas. And you have a pen and a paper. And if something sparks for you, just write it down. We will share afterwards. Let's start with certainty and curiosity. We very often enter conversations, meetings, team catch-up with our assumptions, our fixed agendas and answers. We don't really listen to understand, but to answer. We often miss what is actually felt in a room. And I ask you, how can we be more curious? For me, it starts with making more room for questions and diverse perspectives. Because when we open up, we are truly responsive. And in a world that rewards quick answers, that is not easy. So let's try to break it down. First of all, inviting diversity. Because solving complex challenge doesn't need only one viewpoint, but several. And when I talk about diversity, I mean many things. I mean background, ethnicity, but I also mean mindsets, neurodiversity, and values. Questioning norms. So really spot what no longer serves us. We often just act in the way we are used to act. And we don't really see that some of these norms don't help us anymore. So when things are changing so quickly around us, look at them and see if they're really helping us. Next, question your own perspective. Not to doubt yourself, but actually to find new ways and extend your lens. So that could be through a simple question like, what did I miss? The next one is noticing patterns, so really going beyond the symptoms, going deeper, understanding needs and motivations. And the last one, which is really important for all of them, is to listen. To be really responsive and really don't prepare the answers, but listen and be present. To give you a small example, when I was at IDEO, we formed a new leadership team. We just defined new ways of working and decision-making across the whole organization, which was super exciting, but also very overwhelming. We had a long list of things we needed to implement and needed to make progress on. So we came to every meeting fully prepared with our agendas, answers, and things we needed to do. But there were two things which really got in our way. And the first one was we never actually worked together. So we needed space to understand each other, to meet us as humans, and also understand what each of us means by leadership. And the second thing, which gets in the way, was that our quickly and carefully prepared answers, they didn't really serve us anymore by the time we met because they felt outdated. So we didn't really manage to make progress on the things that really mattered at the time. So we did two small things differently to increase the curiosity. First, we just introduced a simple human check-in. What was your high and your low light this week? And this may sound super small, but it actually helped us to show up as people, to really understand what is beyond our roles. How can we build connection? And it gave us context and helped us to solve the challenges that matter. And the second, we introduced a living agenda. So really, we came together and we quickly prioritized the things which needed to be done at the spot where we needed to have input and decisions. And together, we then tried to see the patterns and prioritized what is actually needed and then to move forward. But if you look actually on for some small shifts in your day-to-day, there's another inspiration I can give you. I don't know if someone of you heard about liberating structures. This is really an inspiration to bring more curiosity into your everyday work. It is a collection of easy-to-use microstructures, how you can meet, decide, and collaborate. And it's just about enough structure to invite curiosity and unlock the thinking and move forward together. So instead of one single person leading with an agenda and answer, you make space for everyone to encourage unexpected insight and surface ideas. It's just to have a look at the online collection and try it out. It's really easy to do. So I want to leave you with one reflection, and I give you a minute. This is one question for you. In your current project and task, which perspective might be missing, and how could you invite them in? Just jot down the first thing which comes to your mind. gonna slowly move to the next one. From control to adaptability. When we're very honest, we often feel the pressure to track, predict, measure, and control every outcome. But in a world that is constantly changing, this is not only exhausting, but it's actually an illusion. So it keeps us really stuck in a reflective mode, stressed, and ultimately less responsive. So what I ask is to embrace strategic learning instead of rigid planning. What do I mean by that? Finding the critical assumptions or the critical unknowns. So really identify your assumptions that you're doing for your project, for your plan, and then prioritize them based which one would really break them, which one would break your next project. Focused learning. After uncovering these assumptions, prioritize them on the greatest uncertainty. So how could you reduce that uncertainty with a small test or small conversation? Asking deeper questions. So really going one level deeper, uncovering, unlayering what is presented in front of you. And that could be a question like, what needs to be true for this to succeed? Adapt based on new evidence. So what you're learning and how does that actually shift on the next step and how can you adapt? And then finally, really build in flexibility, which means when you do a plan, always look for some spots and places where you can learn and change directions. I just want to give you an example. When I work with companies on strategy, I always come across a 5-year vision. So it's like really jotted down a long list of targets and action steps. And on paper, they look super comprehensive, but in practice, it leaves the teams often confused and not really knowing when to change. So when I work with clients, I often introduce an approach which is inspired by Roger Martin, strategy cascade. It's not a blueprint, but it's really a way to build clarity to choices. So we first of all, we identify the core problem and then going deeper into strategic questions which open up a whole new way of possibilities. So strategic possibilities instead of one answer. And these possibilities will be not fixed, but actually would ask for each of them what would have to be true in order for them to succeed. And then we identify the critical assumptions, barriers, and risk areas so we can focus our learning and where it matters most. We test them, and based on what we're learning, we will choose a direction. And most often, at least after time, we go back to identifying the problem. So it's rather a circle where we adapt rather than have it rigid for the next 5 years. For this one, I want to leave you with that question. In your current project plan, what is one risky assumption and what small experiment could you run to learn more and potentially adapt? Jot down what comes to mind first. And the last shift, from overwhelm to creative space. We often have back-to-back meetings. We are constant on, we have a lot of pings, so we actually treat empty space as wasted time. So we miss the space for playfulness and insight. But this isn't being about lazy. It's actually creating vital room for reflection and unstructured thinking. Neuroscience shows that our brains do critical work when they're not laser focused on one task. It's called the default mode network. And this one is actually active during rest, daydreaming, and light activity. So this network is crucial for consolidating memories, reflecting on ourselves and others, and finding these surprising creative connections which you don't expect. So when you do rest, you actually do a lot of work. So we need to protect and create moments of intentional space. To break that down, we need to protect our attention. So our attention is a scarce resource, so we need to treat it like that. So where can you set better barriers? We need to invite more reflection. So how can you schedule more reflection instead of just execution? And where you can notice instead of react. We should invite serendipity. So we should create unstructured time where unexpected can arrive. How can you do that in your project? Where can you make space for serendipity? Also shared pauses, because not only individuals but teams also need together pauses. So where can you slow down together to align, reset, and breathe? And the last one, notice what fuels you versus drains you. Look at what restores your energy and where is it quietly depleted, and then adjust your calendar accordingly. When we do complex project, we always plan in some moments for stepping away, getting inspired, and invite serendipity. And that could be through inspiration from a complete different field, sharing another team's share or brainstorm session, finding ways of playing with the subject, or creating some intentional team rituals. But also in your day-to-day, I try to look at least for moments to pause, reflect, and let my brain wander. And that's not easy. I'm a mom of a 18 months old now, so it's really not easy. But one thing which really inspired me was from The Artist Way, from Julia Cameron. And she suggested to write morning pages. These are 3 handwritten pages with no topic, no rules. So it's really the act of freely dumping anything onto the page that gets you unstuck. As she beautifully says, once we get those muddy, maddening, confusing thoughts and on the page, we face our day with clearer eyes. So I want to leave you with this. What ritual could you create to pause and nurture your creative consciousness? Just write down one thought. Okay, let's recap. We had from certainty to curiosity, from control to adaptability, and from overwhelm to creative space. I would like to now invite you to turn to your neighbor and just exchange one thought, one thing which came to your mind. Go. Okay. Hello? Hello? Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, can I ask everyone 1 second? Come back. Such good conversations. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing with each other. I would like to ask 2 or 3 people if they could share something they heard which could be or was really exciting or inspiring for them. Do I have 2 or 3 people who would like to share something which they heard which was very exciting or sparking something? Yeah, I come to you. Oh, I can't go. Okay, I jump. There you go.
Morning. My name is Nastasia, and thank you so much for such an insightful talk. And it was a lot of things which I think about daily work-wise, and it's interesting, like it's cool to hear that it's not only in your head, but it's actually like out there. And as we were just talking, it was interesting to see the number of 90% of people being not engaged in the work. And I feel this shift happened even more drastically after we came back after a pandemic, and I think everybody really disengaged. So what I really liked about the talk when you said about being playful, and don't forget to put play into work. And I think that's what we miss a lot, because we all went back into offices and we forgot that we have to connect to the personal level, that we have to play, that we have to have some fun, and not only like robots do their hour things and go back. So yeah, now it's only the point of understanding how to bring it to life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think one important part is to, when you want to introduce play, and I sometimes bring some stats to leaders and tell them like what it actually unlocks in how your brain functions when you're in a positive mindset, how much innovation can thrive, and how much it can be locked when you're in a negative one. So that is some things I think, like preparing some arguments why you actually do it, and it's not just for fun. Thank you so much. Anything else someone heard from their neighbor?
Oh, sorry, I wanted to talk about my thing.
Sure, of course.
That's okay, I forgive you.
Okay, so we had a certainty which was a revenue stream, and this was our certainty, but it was certainly not. Because this month it dropped 80% or something, and we have employees to pay. So I thought about, wow, where are the customers now? So maybe we have to be curious, where are they?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking they are coming through the same channel before.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. That's what I mean with identifying the real problem, right, at state, and being able to open up and being flexible instead of, oh, how we can just now continue to follow it somehow, but maybe it's time for rethinking it. Thank you. Anyone else? Last? Yes. Okay, wait, I jump.
We were just discussing how just taking a moment to pause, like I mentioned, with the breathing, we're both doing the same thing and meditating. It's really incredible how we're so used to running around and hustling, and we don't get the right ideas. And it's really when you pause, you really reconnect the dots. And I've been experimenting that, taking my dog for more walks, so he's more happy now. But I'm getting more ideas because it's so great to reconnect and really question things. And it's really interesting, and it's really powerful, more powerful than we thought it was. We're just used to, like you said, wasting time if we're just sitting and doing nothing. But it's really a great time invested, and absolutely feel it.
Yeah. And that is our unique human value, right? Intuition and actually feeling something. So while we can use AI for a lot of like efficiency, what's about reflection and taking that moment to really notice some things which you cannot put in word first, right? So that is the value. Okay, wait, I need to go. in front. Okay. Thank you so much for being so open, for sharing. That was super nice. And I really believe that the ability of people and leaders and organizations to lead with curiosity, embrace ambiguity, and actually create a creative space will be vital. So we all have the task to build a future of work that is more flexible, more creative, and fundamentally more human. And I hope you got some inspiration where you can start. Thank you so much.